I'm Blake and welcome to my bog. Today I'm going to be continuing to work on my front little bog here. I need to do some weeding and move some pitcher plants, which is a carnivorous plant, into the section that I made last time. So these carnivorous plants are Sarracenia Minor. You can see me weeding around them now. And this is a pitcher plant that is native to the southeastern wetlands of the United States. And they eat insects by digesting them inside of these tube-like structures that fill up with digestive enzymes. Carnivorous plants rely on insects instead of nutrients from the soil. And that's because the soil is washed of nutrients because it's wet all the time. And here I'm just popping one out of the ground and nipping all of the dead pitchers off the side and removing some weeds. And you can see there's a little horsetail sticking up out the middle, so I'm going to pop those off and get it kind of cleaned up. This plant attracts insects to it by drooling nectar and leaving nectar trails down its body. But then it also has this red cap that has all of these white-celled windows on the back of it. So when an insect goes inside, it falls down into the stomach of the plant basically, looks up, sees all of these windows and thinks it's an exit, and then flies up, hits it, and just keeps getting trapped in this cycle. Eventually this exhausts the insect and the plant is able to digest it. This species is not confirmed to be native to my area, but there are several that are. Especially Sarracenia Purpurea, which Purpurea is a subspecies of Purpurea, just so that we can be extra confusing here. And this is also called, more simply, the northern pitcher plant. And it is a much more compact variety that is native to this area and can still be found in a few pockets around my state. Here I'm just clipping down the center of the rhizome of the Sarracenia Minor, and that is just dividing it into two plants. This will help it to grow a little bit faster and able to more easily capitalize the area faster. Gives it more directions to send off more shoots of rhizomes that can later be divided. And just got to pull some more weeds here. This grass just went crazy with the heat we've been having. So I'm going to come back a little bit later and also mulch around the edge here with some grass trimmings that I've been collecting. And so that way I can try and keep a better border between the grass and the bog area here. Luckily, a lot of the grass in the middle of the horsetail looks pretty anemic. So the horsetail is doing a great job of taking over the area and really filling in to create like a dense row. It's becoming really beautiful. I love this variety of horsetail brush because it's evergreen, so when everything's getting really sparse during the winter, it'll provide a really nice green patch in the yard. Horsetails are a really unique plant that are actually more closely related to ferns than grass. They split from ferns millions and millions of years ago. And eventually I want to go ahead and do an entire video about them that delves into their unique lineage and some of their really amazing ancestors and the fossils that they've left behind. This little one back here ended up having so many dead pitchers on it. It looks like it will actually flush out to be a pretty big plant, but it was starting to not get enough sunlight to fully develop its traps, which is one of the reasons why I had to get in here and get all of these pitcher plants into a better, more isolated area. And just getting the last couple stuck in the ground there. This last one was massive. It took me a while to get it out of the ground. It actually had somewhat of a taproot looking structure, which was very unusual, not something I've seen on this before. But we're just getting this one cleaned out as well. And this is the oldest one I have, so this is the mother plant from which I've been getting cuttings off for the longest amount of time. And you can see here up close all of those red caps with those white fenestrations that keep the insect confused once they're inside of the trap. This one was so massive, I decided to go ahead and cut it up as well. Normally you'd want to do this in springtime before the traps start to come out, or just as they start to come out, but we have a pretty rainy season coming up, so it's safe here to go ahead and do this, but I wouldn't advise it if you don't know what your weather is going to be like. So I'm just trying to find the finger-like rhizome so that I can give it a good chop in between two eyes, or where the plant and the traps actually start to come out of the rhizome. And finally I find it and I'm able to go ahead and get it separated. And you can see that the pitcher plants and most carnivorous plants don't have that big of a root bulb, and that's because they're pulling moisture, but they're not pulling very many nutrients out of the soil, so they don't really have the need to have a massive root system to go in search of nutrients. They already have it in their stomach. And getting that little cutting I took off of it, put off to the side. And then once I was looking around, I actually found another variety of pitcher plant that I thought I had killed off, but it was just really small and hidden inside of all of the horsetail grass to the right, and so I couldn't tell it was there until I went and started weeding out some of the crabgrass and other things and found it tucked away in there. And I believe that this is a Sarracenia aleota, but I'm not quite sure. It's really green because it hasn't been getting enough sun. So what that means is that the pattern on it is not coming out. The pitchers aren't very developed. So at that stage, all pitcher plants look pretty similar. But that variety is actually a western pitcher plant, so it'd be more easily found in areas like California, Washington, Oregon, northern regions of the western coast of the United States. And there's me spying it and getting a little shock. I had to do a quadruple take. So got everything out around it and then put it in a point of pride there in the middle. So the California pitcher plants are a lot taller, so you can see how tiny this one is. It should be up to about waist height, and it's only about 3 or 4 inches tall after a season of growth. So it was getting pretty crowded out by the horsetails. So it's a good thing we got in when we did, because it looks like it was about on its last leg. And now I'm coming in with some of the grass trimmings, and this will help suppress the grass that is encroaching on the edge. My goal here is to eventually get rid of, if not all of this grass, as much as possible. I mean, besides the horsetail grass, but that's not actually grass, but don't tell them. And that'll be about it for today. I'm going to get this all spread out and packed down around each side of it. This already kind of semi-composted grass is great for this because it kind of forms mats as it starts to have mold and fungus grow in it, and that really helps suppress stuff underneath it. Thank you so much to Sample Plan for allowing me to use their music, and make sure to go check them out anywhere you listen to music. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and if you want to submit music to play along this bog vlog, then you can submit that to BlakesBogMusic@gmail.com.